You are now listening to Wavy Sound.
Welcome to episode 54 of Versus Mike History. I'm your host, Michael History. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you choose to listen. And if we aren't on your preferred platform, let us know and we'll do our best to change that. For premier access to Versus Mike History content, join our members-only subscription tier on versusmikehistory.com.
I'm speaking as a black man from America, which is a racist society. No matter how much you hear it talk about democracy, it's as racist as South Africa or as racist as Portugal or as racist as any other racialist society on this earth. The only difference between it and South Africa preaches separation and practices separation. America preaches integration and practices segregation. This is the only difference. They don't practice what they preach. Whereas South Africa preaches and practices the same thing. I have more respect for a man who lets me know where he stands, even if he's wrong, than the one who comes up like an angel and is nothing but a devil.
And we are back for another episode of Versus Mike History. It is your boy, and it is good to be back. I'm not going to lie and act like we have a bunch to get into this week, but there is some stuff that I do need to go over. Some new music dropped. There were some cool movies and documentaries that also came out that I want to get into. And, some notable things happened in the news this week. So let's go ahead and get into some of the things that are currently going on in the culture. And welcome to another episode. All right, family. So as always, we got to leave with love. I want to take this time to shout out Kyle and the rest of the family at Triple Double Juice Company in East Orange, New Jersey. They have been gracious enough to allow me to conduct interviews there for the past however many months. And, I just wanted to show my appreciation to those guys over there and, go get your smoothies and check out the black business and, support small businesses. So shout out to these guys, and let's go ahead and get into our Black Spotlight. Our Black Spotlight of the week goes to Maya Chaka, and Maya Chaka has made history as the first black woman to be a referee in the NFL. And I'm getting this from Black Enterprise, so bear with me. Maya Chaka has made NFL history as the first black woman to be named an official referee by the league. The Today Show reported that the Virginia Beach-based phys ed and health teacher has trained with the Football League since 2014, and she was overjoyed to hear that her hard work landed her the job. Just because I've been at it for so long and I never thought the day would come, Chaka told the NBC Morning Show. Chaka got the phone call about the exciting news on March 1st. So shout out to this black woman, obviously exemplifying excellence in her field and getting everything that she deserves. She probably deserved to be there earlier than now, but regardless, her hard work and effort has paid off. And, now she is a part of history. So shout out to this woman. And let's go ahead and get into our topics for today. All right, let's go ahead and get into our topics for the week. And let's start here with this one. New Morehouse College program encourages black men to complete unfinished degrees. And I'm getting this from NPR. More than 2 million black men who pursued a higher education never finished their degree, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. The reasons range from college affordability to family responsibilities to military service. Morehouse College wants to help them reach the finish line. Starting this August, the historically black men's college in Atlanta is offering an online program with reduced tuition for men who already have some college credits. Morehouse College president David Thomas got the idea for the program while attending alumni events not long after starting his tenure there in 2018. Excuse me, guys. It almost never failed that someone will pull me aside and say, is there some way I can finish my degree? I feel this amazing connection to Morehouse. It did so much for me. but for one reason or another, they never actually got their degree, Thomas told NPR's All Things Considered. I think this program is actually wonderful, and I hope that people take the opportunity to complete their degrees and, move forward with whatever career goals that they have, because having a degree opens so many doors that you otherwise have to like bust your ass to get through. Not to say that it's impossible to get through these doors without a degree. It's just that getting it just makes it a little bit easier. So I think that people who have started the process of getting it should definitely finish. And all in all, there's really no negative outcome of this program. Like, I don't see any downfall. And I think it's beautiful. But let's go ahead and move on. I'm getting this from Revolt, and it looks like Eve is going to be joining Notori Naughton for a new hip-hop drama. While it's been some time since her last musical body of work, Eve has been making plenty of appearances on the small screen, appearing in shows like Jane the Virgin, Empire, Happy Together, Feel Good, and Kidding over the past few years. In addition to the aforementioned small screen roles, Eve made appearances in top-level theater films as well, including XXX, The Woodsman, The Cookout, Bounty Killer, Animal, and the Ice Cube-led Barbershop series. This week it's been announced that the hip-hop legend will appear in a new series titled Queens alongside 3LW alum Notori Naughton. The show is written by Zahir McGee, who's probably best known for his work on Scandal, Stumptown, and For the People, and is centered around a group of 40-something women reunited decades after their glory days in a successful rap group. Eve will be playing the role of Brianna, also known as Professor Sex. I think that sounds really cool. I think it's cool that Eve is getting back into acting on a regular basis, because I do think that she is talented in that field, as well as being a talented rapper. But I always thought that she was like wonderful on screen. And Notori Naughton, I mean, her work speaks for herself. You know what I mean? Power. So, yeah, I think that this is going to be a cool series. And, we've never seen a series about a hip-hop group, a female hip-hop group, I don't think. And if we have, then, I mean, sorry. But this seems to be something that's worth looking forward to. And I'm looking forward to it. But let's go ahead and keep it moving. So somehow I am back here talking about Jay-Z once again, because he has sold the majority of his stake in Tidal to Square. And I just think that it's very interesting that Jay has made a bunch of these plays in recent time, because it seems like he's gearing up to do something big. Because that he's always been somebody that always thinks 5 steps ahead of everyone else, which is why he's in the position of being the first billionaire in hip hop. But I think that the move is a great decision, and Jack spoke about wanting to create new opportunities for artists to create to monetize their art more. And I think that it's a move in the right direction in terms of like all the things that Spotify has been implementing in terms of being able to tip fans and things like that. And especially in this era that we're moving into, involving blockchain and non-fungible tokens, and how creators will soon be able to create value for their art on their own, is just all signs of things moving in the right direction for creators. Additionally, this deal leaves artists who collaborated with Jay-Z on the initial launch of Tidal to keep their stake in the company as Square takes over all operations for Tidal. And people are kind of split on this on social media. I think that it's a great decision because of all the opportunities it gives potentially to artists in terms of like making more money off of their music. But a lot of people are like, oh, Jay-Z's selling off his black businesses to white corporations and yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about owning black businesses. It's about black people being in positions of not living in poverty and not, having a struggle. And somebody like Jay-Z, who is a literal billionaire, doesn't need to be running tons and tons of businesses. Like, I feel as though that somebody who's making that kind of money doesn't need to be at the helm of multiple companies. It's just not a responsible in terms of like how much you can balance per business. But I'm ranting. All in all, I think that it'll create dope opportunities, like I've said, and we'll see how it plays out in the future. And I wanted to wrap with our topics by giving recognition to the 3 actors, or the 2 actors and the 1 actress who won at the Golden Globes. So I wanted to give a shout out to Daniel Kaluuya, who won for his work in Judas and the Black Messiah. I wanted to give a shout out to John Boyega, who won for his work in the miniseries that he was in. I can't remember the name of it. And I want to give a shout out to Andra Day for being the first black woman to win Best Actress at the Golden Globes in 35 years for her work in the Billie Holiday film, The United States versus Billie Holiday. I think it's important that the Golden Globes continues to highlight black actors and actresses who have been doing amazing work. And I'm glad that Andra Day has received the award that she received, because it is ridiculous that no black woman has won the award in 35 years. Like, there are so many women who have been doing such amazing work in that span of time. But regardless of the fact, we are here. And I do need to go ahead and watch the United States versus Billie Holiday, because, that's huge. But let's go ahead and get into new music. And we got a couple new offerings. So Coca-Cola tapped Tyler, the Creator, to create a new song for a commercial of theirs, and it's called Tell Me How. Jacquees and Mulatto got a song called Freaky As Me. G Herbo dropped 2 songs, one called Break Yourself, the other called Really Like That. YNW Melly and Kodak Black got a song called Thugged Out. Cowboy Gang Gang, Cowboy Where Were You, J-Rock and CS Armstrong, Own 2. Baby Keem, we get some new Baby Keem finally, No Sense. We need a project from that young man. And that's about all I got. Other than that, of course, we got new Drake this week. He gave us Scary Hours 2, and that consisted of 3 new records. What's Next, Wants and Needs featuring Lil Baby, and of course the Lemon Pepper Freestyle featuring Rick Ross. And might I say that Rick Ross and Drake don't miss. I know it's been said a lot on social media, but I felt it necessary to say it again here, because at this point, when 2 artists come together consistently to create hit records, or what I consider to be hit records, back to back to back to back, now the conversation turns to, well, these 2 might need to put a project out together. And that's what the conversation is shifting towards with Ross and Drake, because, they make one hell of a pair. And, they've never missed. And yeah, that's pretty much it for music. I'm trying to think. Oh, yes, of course. How could I forget? Because I was going to put it at the end. Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak have come together as Silk Sonic to create an album, and they have released the first song off of that album, and it is called "Leave the Door Open." And this song is quite actually beautiful and wonderful. And you guys will hear it at the end of the episode, even though I'm sure you guys heard it already. But this is the type of music that I live for. Like, I love the oldies, and the fact that Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars are tapping into that classic sound just means that we're gonna get some excellent music. And it's the type of music that you want to be listening to when the weather is getting warmer and you going back outside and you starting to fraternize a little bit. So shout out to those brothers, and let's go ahead and get into some television and movies. Okay, so I'm glad that we can finally wrap this up, because I'm tired of talking about this show here, to be perfectly honest. But WandaVision just wrapped up, and I have so many opinions about this finale. I think that overall the show is I think that it was a good series, WandaVision, from top to bottom. But I do think that the creatives of the show and the producers and the actors all did a pretty shit job of keeping the expectations to a minimum in terms of what we should expect from this series. Because, the Scarlet Witch has a long history in the Marvel comics, and there's a lot of directions you can take with the character. So with this series, we thought that we'd see a lot of new and interesting things that we haven't seen in the MCU in the past because of rights restrictions and things like that. But once Marvel got the rights back to the X-Men and all of these other Fox characters that they that they didn't have access to before, you would think that we would be moving in a very bold direction. But it wasn't really that. It wasn't that. And the finale wrapped up the story that we were presented, and it did that. It did that pretty well, but it left so much to be desired in terms of questions that were raised. And while we were kind of sent in a carousel of conspiracy theories while we were allowed to sit in a carousel of conspiracy theories for weeks on weeks. Regardless, I think that the finale was cool. The fact that, and this is spoilers, that we lose the kids was really trash to me, because I think that they should kind of develop those children's characters a little bit more, even though we know the history of them in the comics. And if you don't, then go ahead and look that up. The House of M comic in Marvel Comics. Regardless, I'm rambling, and I'm glad that it's come to an end, because there were a lot of theories and there are a lot of expectations created through those theories. And now that the show has ended, I can go back and watch, and with a clear mind of what's going to happen, and judge the series based on what it is rather than what I want it to be. And let's go ahead and move on to the Biggie documentary. So Netflix released a Biggie documentary called I Got a Story to Tell. And essentially this documentary follows Biggie's early life before really creating his first album, or in the process of creating his first album, and the time before that. And it talks about how his Jamaican roots and how he started becoming of age and moving on to Fulton Street in Brooklyn to sell drugs, and the multiple musical influences that led to him becoming the artist that he became. And it was very insightful, and I really enjoyed it because there's been so many Biggie documentaries, and I didn't think that it was going to be possible for us to see something new pertaining to the artist. And we did, because we saw a lot of behind the scenes footage that hadn't been released before, and we talked a lot about his life outside of being an artist, being in Brooklyn, and how he essentially cultivated Junior Mafia and the personalities and the whole style of the group on his own. And he had so much ambition, and his style was so unique to how everyone else was rapping at the time, and New York was just in such a slump. But I don't want to get too deep into it, because it really is a good documentary, and I think that everybody should go check it out. So go ahead and watch Biggie, I Got a Story to Tell on Netflix. And let's round out this section with Coming to America, the sequel. And I've got to say, this was a really, really funny movie. And there was so much opportunity for Amazon and whoever else produced this movie to get it wrong after 30 years, because there's so much that's changed in terms of what's funny, what's acceptable to say that's in a film, and how jokes translate over generations. But this film did all of those things really well, and the story was really well cultivated. It wasn't cheesy. Well, it was cheesy, but it was cheesy in a good way. And it was definitely enjoyable because, like I said, usually when we get these reboots, they do them so wrong. And we even get a scene like that in this film where they talk about American entertainment and reboots and sequels and stuff like that. But all in all, it was a great movie. Leslie Jones was such a great addition to this cast. Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall are just as funny as they were in the original film. Tracy Morgan knocks it out of the park once again. And, even James L. Jones was funny in this movie. But all in all, great film. And I'm glad that it was done in such good taste. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. All right, guys. So remember, as always, send topics, questions, music, and movie suggestions. Follow the podcast on Twitter at VSMikeHistory and on Instagram and the Fanbase app at Versus Mike History. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike History and on Instagram at Last Name History. And this week's sound selection comes from Anderson Paak and Bruno Mars, otherwise known as Silk Sonic. And this is Leave the Door Open.
I'm sipping wine, in a robe. I look too good to be alone. My house clean, my pool warm. Just